In this video, we'll see how to scrape leads from Meta Ad Library. Meta Ad Library is the repository of all active advertisements on Meta. Why is it interesting to prospect leads from Meta Ad Library? Simply because these are leads that are rarely prospected since you need to do scraping to obtain them. As a result, most people won't take these steps, so these are leads that are quite underutilized. Therefore, there's a higher chance they'll respond to your prospecting. The second interesting thing about these leads, we know that all these leads correspond to active businesses, otherwise they wouldn't be advertising. We also know that these are companies that have a marketing budget and are currently spending on Meta ads. To scrape leads from Meta ads, we'll simply create an automated system on N8N, an automation platform. The first thing we'll do is test the system to see how it works. First step, go to Meta Ad Library and perform a search. Here, I performed a search for people who advertise in the cryptocurrency domain. All the people who are there are businesses or individuals who advertise for a cryptocurrency business or for their own cryptocurrency. So, if your ICP consists of cryptocurrency companies, you already know that all these people are in your ICP and that they have budget. These are therefore two interesting pieces of information. We'll retrieve the URL and go to the system on N8N. Here, we can open the chat and enter the URL of the Meta Ad Library search, then click Enter. At that moment, the system will retrieve the email addresses of people from the Meta Ad Library search, really from all the people who appear in this search, and it will directly enter them into a Google Sheet. This way, we can use this information for our prospecting. After a few seconds, we can see directly on Google Sheet the emails I obtain and that I can use for my prospecting. Now, the objective will be to show you how you can reuse this system for yourself, to be able to scrape leads from Meta Ad Library. The first step will be to get the template of this system from the video description. Once you have the template of this system, you'll be able to import it on N8N. On N8N, you'll click on the three small dots here in the top right. Then we'll go to Import from File. We'll directly select the template you downloaded. Here, the workflow will appear directly on your N8N, and we'll be able to configure it. The workflow works with the chat trigger, meaning that every time you want to scrape Meta Ad Library, you just need to go here to the chat button and simply paste the URL of your Meta Ad Library search. The second node of the workflow is the Apollo Scraper. It's a scraper that will retrieve from this page all the URLs of Facebook pages of companies that are present here. In fact, it's from these URLs that we'll be able to retrieve contact information, email, website, etc. This agent is already perfectly configured. The only thing you'll need to modify for you to be able to use it is to add your Apify API key. All the scrapers I use in the system are scrapers that are present on the Apify platform. Here, for example, the scraper we're going to use is this one. We'll need to retrieve the API key to be able to use this scraper. Here, we have the scraper pricing, which is 50 cents for 1,000 results. You'll be able to have enormous amounts of leads for a very low price. Once you create an account on Apify, you'll already have $5 for free that you can use on the platform. To retrieve your API key, we'll go here to Settings, then we can go to API and Integrations. At this level, you have your Apify API key. We'll click directly on the button to copy our key. We'll go to N8N, and at the level of our request URL, we can click here at the bottom right to see our URL. So, here, at the end of the URL, we can paste our Apify API key. There, we've set up the first scraper that will scrape Meta Ad Library. Then, we have here a loop that will allow us to retrieve contact information from each of the people in our search. It will loop through each of the companies that are present in the Meta Ad Library search. We have a second scraper, which is still an Apify scraper. This scraper will be able to retrieve email contacts from each company. To configure this scraper, everything has already been done. The only thing you have to do, once again, is to associate your API key at the URL level. At the end, we can simply paste our API key. For the second scraper, this is the one we use. It's the one that will, from the URL, give us the contacts. This scraper pricing will be $10 for 1,000 results. It's a bit more expensive than the previous one, but that's because it will search precisely on each page for information like email, website, and other contact information for each company. Then, we have one last step that we can set up, the Google Sheet. You'll simply create a Google Sheet that you'll call Meta Ad Library, for example. In this Google Sheet, you'll need to add 3 columns. First column, Facebook page. Second column, email. Third column, website. If possible, if you want to have the least configuration to do, try to have exactly the same wording as what I created right here, given that my template has been configured on these specific columns. Once you've created your own Google Sheet, we can directly go to the workflow level, to the Google Sheet level. You'll be able, at the document level, to associate the Google Sheet as well as sheet number 1. So, quite simply, this will allow us, for each lead we just scraped, to add them to the Google Sheet. Now, all you have to do is perform a search here on Meta Ad Library, retrieve the URL and enter it at this level, at the level of your Meta Ad Library scraper.